Ondo Finance has been crashing, and that's because of very questionable news. I'm not so certain if this is actually manipulation. Maybe we can take advantage of that. Let me show you what I mean. Yes, the overall market is trending down, but Ondo tended to underperform. And here's a news article published by CoinDesk. Ondo drops tokenized asset blockchain plans for private high-speed trading network. Ondo has all been about tokenizing real-world assets, right? That we can trade, for example, traditional finance assets like stocks on the blockchain. But it also published a perpetual futures trading exchange. So an exchange where we can bet with leverage on those assets. Now, there are already competitors here, Hyperliquid, for example, that's growing very quickly, that's now owning most of the market share. I am not so sure though if Ondo is really moving away from its tokenized asset plans. Just recently, we had an interview with the founder of Ondo that just talked about how Fidelity and Charles Schwab eventually will move into tokenized securities and how that might grow the entire market of tokenized stocks. So what's really going on here? My name is Gerhard. I've been in the crypto space for the last 8 years. I hit my first million 3 years ago, and it is mainly through active trading of altcoins. My track record is on the website down below. In the last 5 years, I outperformed buying and holding Bitcoin by roughly 2% per month. And over the last 2 years, I published my real-time trading, making close to 50% per annum. Now, the fees that get generated on Ondo Finance tend to be only in the $200,000 to $300,000 range, and they tend to not really grow much. But here is the trading volume of Ondo Perpetual Futures, which is now close to 250 million per day. Now, with typical Perpetual Futures exchange trading fees, that's already 125k per day. So while the Perpetual Futures don't make as much as the rest of the Ondo network, it's the fastest growing part of the platform in terms of income. And maybe that's one of the reasons why we've got news articles like this. This here is Ondo Perps. It's still in beta. And as it's getting rolled out more and more, very likely the trading volume will continue to increase. Perpetual futures are by far the fastest growing part of all of crypto. They tend to expand their open interest and their trading fees quicker than, say, spot trading. Even the largest decentralized exchange now, it's not Uniswap anymore, it's Hyperliquid. And Hyperliquid continues to grow. I personally use Hyperliquid every single day. And I am also committing more and more capital to the platform. Here is the TVL on Hyperliquid. It's now at $6 billion. But Ondo clearly is not just in the perpetual futures game and will forget about everything else. For example, we've got BlackRock that names Ondo as the gold standard for tokenized assets. That's truly Ondo's real mode. Wall Street is using the platform. And the Twitter account of Ondo continues to focus on tokenization, not on perpetual futures. By the way, if you use X, formerly known as Twitter, then feel free to also follow the account of this channel over here. I publish data regularly. Make sure though that you follow the right account. So that's at BitcoinStrat. Make sure that you don't follow a fake account. So we've got Ondo's stablecoin. We've got real world asset tokenization. We've got a borrowing and lending platform. We've got integrations with other public chains. Still, long term, the price of Ondo didn't develop that well. This is Ondo measured in US dollars, and we could make the argument that that bad performance is just an expression of the general market going down. But actually, once we adjust for the macro picture, the chart does not necessarily look that much better. At least it didn't up until recently. This is now Ondo Finance relative to the others market cap. The others market cap is all the altcoins that are not in the top 10. So Ondo Finance tended to underperform the rest of the altcoin market very consistently up until the beginning of April of this year. Now we have higher lows and we've also got higher highs. Now, where did the initial underperformance come from? It was tokenomics, surprise, surprise. So there's more tokens that unlock over time, providing liquidity to private sales and early investors and the team. At the beginning of every year, we've got a major unlock. But now, relatively speaking, to what's already circulating, those future unlocks won't be as problematic anymore. So here is the supply expansion. 1 year from now, we will have almost 40% more Ondo tokens. This is a lot, but it's becoming less of a problem over time. In 3 years, there will be 0 token dilution. Unfortunately, as with most other cryptocurrencies, Ondo Finance also trades in line with attention. So the more people talk about the asset, the higher the price goes. We've got the social mentions as these bars in brown in the background, and we've got the price as a line in green in the foreground. So there's clearly a connection here, right? The more people discuss the asset, the higher the price goes. Currently, there's not too much attention. The price has stabilized. If more people talk about Ondo again, then of course the price can go higher as well. Let's have a look at the on-chain data. So we've got 206,000 holders on the Ethereum chain. And here we've got Dune Analytics. So this is a platform where we can look at the data directly on chain. This is a dashboard that I've built. On the left side, we see the number of wallets that have at least 3,000 Ondo tokens. So it's roughly $1,000 worth of the token. In the middle, it's 30,000 tokens or $10,000 worth of the token. On the right, it's $100,000 worth of the token. We can see how the number of retail investors tends to grow quite consistently. That's also true for the medium-sized investors. The whales, they also accumulate long-term over time, but we do have our jumps downward as well. This is probably when the whales move their assets to the centralized exchanges to potentially sell off their unlocked tokens. So the whales, they are the least bullish. They accumulate at the slower pace. The retail investors, they continue to buy in very quickly. And so then we can compare those growth rates with the circulating supply expansion. If people buy at a quicker rate, then the supply expands, then Ondo can outperform. 1 year from now, we were at roughly 20,000 retail investors. Now we are at 26,000. So that grew by a bit over 30%. Here we've got the leverage that's in the asset. So how much open interest is currently on Ondo Finance? How much are people actually betting on a rising or on a falling price of Ondo? And there is also a correlation between that and the price. So the more people speculate with the asset, the higher the price tends to be. The less people speculate with the asset, the lower the price tends to be. Currently, we are not that high in terms of leverage. If that was to build up, then the price would of course follow as well. As usual, I have run a backtest trying to find out how to best trade Ondo. In this case, Ondo relative to Bitcoin. Here is the backtest result. So we look at different moving average combinations. The 15 and 17-day simple moving average historically outperformed buying and holding Ondo relative to Bitcoin. How that then looks like over time is the following. So here is the live chart. This all comes from Bitcoin Strategy Analytics, right? The backtesting platform that's for the premium members. As long as the 11-day simple moving average is above the 17-day, we should be bullish. So we had a golden cross over here and we bet on a rising price over here. When the 15-day moving average is below the 17-day, that's when we are bearish and we should be betting on a falling price, like over here. So historically, that approach worked very well. We've got the Ondo price at the top. We've got the strategy measured in US dollars here in blue. And we've got the strategy measured in Ondo tokens at the bottom. So quite constant moneymaker. I think it makes sense to at least consider that indicator for short-term entry and exit points. And right now, it's probably not the right time to sell Ondo because the momentum is still bullish. But that could shift very quickly. And while Ondo is in a bullish trend, it could still underperform by roughly 15% and still be in that trend. So that's in general how I trade. I like to look at trading rules that historically worked well. That's how I did all of my altcoin trading performance. Again, all of those trades, they are on the website, or the closed trades. The open trades, they are of course available for the premium members. But while I cannot publish every single trade here on YouTube, there is this website in the pinned comment down below. So one of the trades that I currently hold, that most premium members hold as well, can be gotten over here completely for free. So you can either register your Telegram by scanning this QR, or alternatively by clicking this button, or you can plug in your email. Then you will get that position that you can simply copy trade. You will also get a tutorial video that explains how to do the trading. And so the idea is that you make your first money with that free trade, that you learn more about the strategy, and that you will then use those gains to hopefully buy the paid membership as well to get more trades. And it's not just trades, there's a lot of tutorial content as well. If it's your first time here, feel free to subscribe. I publish this regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It helps the channel grow. See you next time. Cheers.